Mr. Speaker, I have tremendous respect for Honorable Ichungwa, leader of majority. But my problem with him is that he probates and reprobates. He says good things, and immediately after that good things, he says another very bad thing. And sometimes he says them without information. The first point of information, Honorable Ichungwa, is that the police officer who died is not from Nyamira. He was from my constituency, a place called Nyakongo in Rarieda, the late Brian Oduor. And the second point of information is that he was not beaten by goons or by anybody. He was run over by the very same Land Cruiser that he was commanding, and I have the autopsy report. And in fact, we have sought compensation from the police for killing my constituent. Now, if you allow me one more minute, Mr. Speaker, on the substantive issue, I just want to confirm it's not a matter of speculation, as Honorable Ichungwa might be saying. It is true that our security was withdrawn. But let us just make this distinction. First, withdrawal of security of a member of parliament must be different from withdrawal of security of those who the law mandates provision of security. Like you, Mr. Speaker, when you retire, you are entitled to security, and it cannot be a matter of discretion of anyone. So a former vice president, a former prime minister, and people of that caliber are by law entitled to security. That cannot be withdrawn, and it's not a matter of discretion. When it comes to a member of parliament, Mr. Speaker, there is good reason why members of parliament have security. And in fact, this matter has been affirmed even by the High Court in a constitutional petition. So I want to suggest to the Honorable Ichungwa that when you address this matter, do not address it and then you add but. That you may be entitled, but only if you do the following. That is not the case. I want to assure Mr. Ichungwa, Honorable Ichungwa, I have always stood firm. In the last parliament, I was firm. When our security was withdrawn, when some of the security of those who are perceived to be against government then was withdrawn, I've always maintained that a member of parliament is entitled to security at all times, irrespective of what they say. If a police officer misuses their firearm, there's provision of how to deal with it. The Police Act is very clear. But you cannot stand here and say that some members of parliament who engage in violent demonstration, there is no single member of parliament in this house who has engaged in any violent demonstration. So you cannot then come and start saying that if you engage in violent demonstration, and in any event, exercise of a constitutionally provided right cannot be irresponsible. Mr. Speaker, I just want to emphasize this point, that even those who think it's a matter of discretion, if you lose one member of parliament, and right now, there are situations and there are people who have been tasked to deal with some members of parliament, including myself. Losing one member of parliament, it is these same people who will be crying on how much money you're using to do the by-election. So, Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to invite you to do is to make a very firm finding that irrespective of where you are, whether you are in government or not, minority or majority, a member of parliament is entitled to security until and unless there is misuse, in which case they are dealt with under the Police Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Didymus, what's your point of order?